Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Across the Spectrum. I'm your host Digz, and joined by Spyro
What's up? It's Inferno Spiral here.
and Khoa,
Hi, my name's Khoa.
and we're on episode 5, and the topic today is buying games. So, like habits that we have when we buy games. Do you prefer digital or physical? Like what affects your choices when you buy a game? All those type of things. We're gonna get deep into that. Um, I think that's the first intro where we didn't crack up too much because of how it was.
Almost dead.
That yeah, Spyro almost lost that, so that was a good one.
Hi, I'm Khoa.
So,
Alright,
um,
still
I think we'll
rusty.
jump right into it. The first topic that we have is, do you prefer to buy physical copies or like the digital version, and like what are the benefits of each? So, for me personally, I can go on forever about this because I'm on the fence with both, and I think I actually talked about this last episode. For me, the physical copy would obviously be for like the collector's stuff, if it comes with that cool ass statue or art book or music, whatever. But like something dope and unique. But also, if like I'm trying to play a game that I only want to play through once, I'll get the used version because it's gonna be mad cheaper than a digital copy.
Yeah.
Like I can get Days Gone for like $10 and then return it because I'm probably never gonna like play that game over and over again. But if it's a different game like Tekken, I'll get the digital copy. So that's for me. That's usually, um, I guess, the motive behind purchasing either the physical or the digital version of the games. But so far, I guess within the past year, I've stuck to more digital, but I've also been very scarce with buying things. 'Cause I used to be like, collector's edition? Yeah, add that. Collector's edition? Add that. Even, I think I had to stop myself with one of it. Like, I was going to buy like 2 copies of the Final Fantasy 15 collector's edition. I don't know, like, not to sell it, but to keep one like wrapped up. And the other one I would just have to like open up and play the game and all that shit. But I
Mm.
didn't. I stopped myself because it was like $400, I
Yeah, put one
Oh
on
my
ice on display.
god. Jesus
think.
Christ.
Right? That's how I am. Like I need one for display and then one to actually use. I guess it's a habit that my dad taught me because I think I told you guys he collected all the first generation Transformers for me and the Ninja Turtles and GI Joes and shit like that from the past. Exo Squad even. He would always buy two. Like he'd buy one for me to play with and then buy one for me to just keep boxed up so that it would become a collector item. And when the first like Transformers movie came out, like 2006 or 7 or something, was it? Or I don't remember when it came out, but I just know I saw like Optimus Prime running for $10,000. I was like, damn, I have this in the garage.
Did you sell it?
No, I didn't sell it. I should have. I should have got rid of everything because everything was up to thousands, especially like
Mm.
the main characters that were in the movie. Optimus Prime, Megatron, and them. But that's probably where I got that habit from. Like, I need 2 copies, like one to
Mm.
use and one to save.
Nice.
How about you guys?
For me, I think I used to be like a purely physical, just because I was like, oh well, what if I want to take it to my friend's house, or like, so we can play on his PS4 or something like that, or just to have it with me. But I think now moving on to digital, I think it's just a lot easier. Like you don't have to worry about I'm gonna take this disc out. I'm like, oh wait, is this Blaze Blue? Like, oh, this isn't Blaze Blue. This is Tekken in here. What am I doing? Where are all these games coming from? So I think digital for me now. But if I really really like the game or something, I can see myself like buying the game, like physical, maybe just like framing it depending on how I like the game or something like that. Be cool to have like a line of games, a series that I really like, framed up.
Nice.
But I think mostly digital for me now. What's you,
Nice and
Sparrow?
simple.
Well, I came through like, we had the standard. I think it's digital's becoming more of a thing now as we kind of, move forward with the consoles and stuff. Despite the fact that, you see the consoles now have like a separate digital version and then a separate disc version, with everything like that. Originally, yeah, I didn't have a problem with physical. Like digital was like a weird sort of like thing for me. And around like the 360 days, we started getting the games for free for digitally, and it was more convenient that way. But obviously, you either have like the storage issues to where that it takes up more storage, whereas like the
Mm.
disc version is like you pop the disc in, you don't have to deal with all the copying and stuff like PlayStation is, which I hope is not a thing in PS5 as far as I know. But normally it's a lot easier. There's less stuff to download. It saves. But nowadays, when it comes to physical copies, if it's something that I really want to keep, like for example, I play Tekken, and I've played the whole series for ever since I was little. It's like one of my very few first games that I've ever had in my life, and I've always kept a physical copy of each Tekken, and it's kind of like sort of a memory for me. So I kind of have games that I know that I'm going to have for a long time. Like digital, you can just like get rid of it off the storage. It's like it's kind of like how you feel with used copies. When you buy the used copy, you play it once and then you can easily return it. Most of the games that we've been getting lately are digital and for free. So most of the time, I usually just play them. It's kind of like a similar thing, and delete it off. There's not much of a problem there. So I've been really picky about buying games lately. So normally, if it's something that I absolutely don't, I absolutely want, then I'll get it. If that makes any sort of sense.
Definitely. Hey, if I want it, I'm gonna get it, right?
One, I'm gonna get it. But
I'm gonna get those two collector's
picky.
editions.
I'm very picky. I have to do like all the research and all that sort of stuff. If it's a new IP or something like that. If it's a series that I'm familiar with, then it's a yeah. I'm like soul.
Take my money.
I'm like Fry from Futurama.
Right.
You give me everything. But if it's
Yeah.
like a brand new IP, like Naya or something like that, then I kind of have to get like an opinion or do some research, kind of see how the game is, try the demos, do all this other stuff before I actually buy a physical copy or if I buy it digitally. So it's kind of like the toss up there.
Right. Speaking of Neo, the way that they released their game was dope because they did like the trial for it. It was timed, obviously. I think you had like a weekend to play certain levels, but if you completed it, you got exclusive items for the actual game when it came out.
I think
So
the very first game was like a week, and then the second game they did a weekend.
a weekend. Okay, yeah, I know. I did both of them because I was like, man, this game is sick. And then the item wasn't even like hella overpowered either. It was like a
Shiny
charm,
art.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool though. Like I thought that was really dope incentive. Like, hey, try our demo, and if you beat the demo, because it it was aimed to be a difficult game. It was
hmm
supposed to be a Souls esque type game with that level of difficulty, and to have it reward you for beating the demo. Like if you decided to purchase the game was sick.
Yeah, so it gives you a chance to like try the different weapons and stuff like that. It's like, oh, like if I get this game, then I'm gonna try this, or maybe I could try this, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like because it's when it comes to like RPGs and stuff like that, it's very build based where like you're focusing on like a particular build for different weapons or a type that you wish to be as, because it does have co-op too.
Yeah.
So sometimes you end up playing with friends and stuff like that. So if they need like a tanky, tankier person, and then you have that particular character unlocked, then just boom, it's there.
Yeah.
So
The
it kind
builds were
of
dope too. They
yeah.
got really, really complex because the items rolled like up to I think like 7 different perks, so you can
hmm
re-roll those, and then ethereals were like the max quality of weapons and armor, but you couldn't re-roll certain things. It got really, really deep. It was like almost Diablo deep, but then I guess a little more simplified for the type of game that it was. So really dope game. I recommend it to you, Spyro.
Shoot, I've been playing the first one because I've been still trying to finish it because they gave it out for free. So,
Right.
and I played the because I didn't play the first demo. So I kind of missed out on that. I was kind of mad when I actually got to actually playing the game for free. I was like, man, I missed out on this game. And it's like I always wanted to like look at it, but when I played Dark Souls 3, I got wrecked. So I was, I was like, oh crap, is it gonna be the same exact thing? And then I played the Nioh 2 demo, and I was like, oh, there's new weapons, all this other stuff, and it's like they put more of an emphasis on co-op, and so it seemed like more complete, and it's sort of an improvement on the original.
Yeah,
So
definitely different.
Then you can actually, I think like the Forge, you can act like if there was like a particular look that you wanted to have, then you could refurbish a weapon that was like more powerful, but you can make it look like what you wanted. So there was more, there was more, there was more creativity and stuff that that was given to the player, and the customization is better in 2 too. So I'm just like,
I know you can change your skin in the first one. I don't think you could change like the look of your armors. I don't remember, unless they added it to a patch after, because that game was dope because it capped you when the base game came out, and then for each DLC it raised your level and brought in new stuff, and then it's like you had to play the game again on the next difficulty, but in this difficulty it unlocks the next rarity of weapons and armor. So it rewarded you for replaying the game too, and it wasn't just like, damn, this is a fucking grind. Like,
it's like, if you wanted to make a brand new build, then I got to go look for it again.
Yeah, but you can use your build that you had currently and either adapt it to another one or like try something else out, because there's so many different routes you could take with that game. It's ridiculous. Like not just the weapons only, but then like they have stances, the high, mid, and low stance.
Yeah, that's why I was liking too. I was like, oh crap, I can do this. I can do heavy stuff, and it was kind of like trying to like make everything flow, and like especially when you're trying to face like multiple enemies and stuff like that, and it gets like really crazy. And I had a lot more fun with it than the actual Soul series, so that's why it was something that I wanted to give a go, and I think I might get a physical copy for the second game. Just seriously,
$10 on Black Friday.
I know. But because like they had it on sale too on the PlayStation Store, like the DLC and stuff like that, like the digital deluxe edition and all that stuff. So I'm like, should I get the digital or the physical to see this?
Yeah, that game's sick. I think it played more like a Ninja Gaiden game, than it did a Souls game because of the combos and stuff that you could do. But yeah, I would say it had the difficulty of a Souls game, but it didn't play exactly like what it played. More fast paced and more combo based and reaction based, I guess. Souls seems kind of like, oh, you want to take this part here and parry or repost, and then think insta kill, or run up behind them, think backstab.
And I think it was easier for other people too, because normally when it came to like Dark Souls, it didn't hold your hand. Like you kind of had to, go everywhere to kind of figure out exactly how to progress in the story and everything like that. Where Nioh, it's a little bit easier, and they also have like little side quests here and there. And then if you wanted tougher missions, they had the Twilight missions and stuff like that. So it was, it was like a little bit of
pretty much.
Yeah, it was still hard, but it was something to where I feel like it was they gave little things here and there for that beginners could easily understand and like pick up or make want to actually try more difficult games.
It was across the spectrum of difficulty. I'm just kidding. All right. So.
I was like unfazed. He's just like, what kind of joke?
I was like, when's this podcast over, dude? No. All right. So what do you think the major benefits are to them? I know we talked about like preference, like, yeah, we prefer to buy these type of games physical or these type of games digital, but what do you think the benefits are to each? Like, I think digitally you don't have to worry about having it damaged, obviously, because there's nothing too damaged. Like if the file gets corrupt, you just download it again. But then, like you mentioned, Spyro, there's the space issue. The games are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I don't know, Fortnite was like 80 gigs or something, and I think some games are like 80 gigs, and I'm like, dude, that's almost a quarter of my hard drive. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, 'cause
And
I think
I
like
have
yeah.
big hard drives too. Like I put it in a 2 terabyte specifically because I like to have a bunch of games on my shit, in case my internet goes out. Because like I can't download this, and you never know if the internet's gonna go out. So I try not to rely on that as a source. It's like, oh, I can just download whatever game. I try to have like 20 games on there, but then it's like I only fit 5 games on here.
Yeah.
And then physical. Obviously, you have to worry about it being damaged, it getting lost. You lend it out to somebody, forget who you lend it out to. They could get it, they can lose it or
Or they
damage
they
it.
snatch it, they steal it, they don't give it back to you.
Yeah.
Like what? Like
What you
what?
talking about? You
Borderlands
never gave me
2?
that
I
game.
don't remember. I don't remember you giving me that.
I don't
I
even have a
never.
PS3. Yeah. Um, there's also like my room gets like super hot. I just found out that my stack of batteries I had like fucking exploded.
Oh,
It leaked out the
battery acid.
yeah, and so like they had all the corrosion over it and shit. And I was like, fuck. But like that also is an issue too. Like if the disc gets too hot and it's like in the wrong place, you can have it warp and it could damage the vinyl on the inside. So I think that's probably one of the bigger downsides to physical. I can't really think of anything else. How about you guys?
Yeah, because I think, aside from, it being like a collector's item or something that you really want or, personal reasons, I think that, it does save resources in terms of like actually producing the plastic cover, the actual disc itself. The only thing that I would worry about is if digital becomes more of a thing and a standard for like games where, we're not having like the disc copies anymore, that
Hmm.
policies for refunds should be adjusted or changed in some way, because if there's issues or problems, you can't really return it. Like the refund policies are fairly difficult to deal with on console for both Xbox and PlayStation. I think like when
Right.
it comes to Steam, it's a lot easier.
Yeah,
But like
Steam
for
definitely easier.
for PlayStation's refund policy, I think that's like it's really bad. It's like really hard to kind of return games.
I don't even think they have one, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay, because I think in the old PlayStation store, not the new one. I don't even talk about the new one right now. But the old PlayStation store, I think when you right before you purchase it said like all purchases are final or some shit like
Yeah.
that, unless stated in
I
these
think
states or
there's a
some shit.
refund policy when it comes to like pre-ordering a game. I think that's the only way they can refund it. Normally it has to be like, because they usually ask you a bunch of questions, because normally it goes through like the automated like AI that's like built in before it gives you an agent. And so it
Right.
goes through these particular questions, whether or not it's like, when did you buy this, or is the game already out, or have you played it yet, or this is your first time asking for a refund, these sort of like questions. And I think it has to be like 14 days before the game comes out for you to be able to return it. I think when
Damn,
it
that's
gets to
crazy.
like that window where it's getting closer and closer to release, then you're unable to actually, you know,
Do
get
anything
your money
about it.
back.
Yeah, I know with Steam it's a lot easier.
Yeah,
Steam, I think it's also a 14-day window, but I think you also need under a certain amount of hours played.
I think it's
yeah,
two.
yeah. Because
Is
they
it two
usually look at
hours?
your hours and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot more things that they can look into before actually returning it. Whereas when it comes to like PlayStation, I don't think they really, you know, have those sort of stats on hand or worry about that when
Oh,
it
they
comes to
got
refund.
those stats.
Hmm. I didn't even know returning on a PS4 or like PlayStation was a thing. I didn't even know Steam was a thing. I guess it makes sense. I actually just returned the game recently, for the first time. I only played like an hour and a half of it. Thank
What
God.
game was it?
It was a Labyrinthine or something. It
Oh, it
was like
sounds
it's early
dope,
access.
son.
What was
Oh,
that?
early access. I say that sounds dope. Labyrinthine,
Or Labyrinthine or something
It's
like
like
that.
labyrinthic.
a wolf in a
It's like
labyrinth.
it was just like a 4 player. You go through this maze and it's like a scary game. But then it was just kind of boring.
Mm.
But yeah, I got the refund really quick. I mean, I put in the request. I got it like the next day or something, or within a few hours. So
Yeah.
I tried to refund a game that was 2 years old that I never played. And they didn't let me do it. And I was like, I have 0 hours on it though.
well, that's more than
And
14
then
days, I'm sure.
and I was like, my computer at the time didn't handle it, but I thought that I was gonna be able to play it, and then I completely forgot about the game, and then
Mm.
now I got a supercomputer and it works, but I still don't want to play it. So can I get a
Uh,
refund? And they're like, it's out of the 14-day window. Sorry. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, so I mean, if digital becomes more of a thing, and it's to where well, we're saving the environment, that sort of deal, how like some people could have like mottos like that. I think that the refund policy should be looked into a little bit more, and then be adjusted, or kind of like have some sort of like leniency if disc becomes less and less of a thing.
I think the tricky part is with at least the digital. I mean, it could be the same for physical too. Is that, I mean, physical, you can, this is like pirating and stuff, but you can rip the contents of the drive, and then like for PC, it's obviously very easy to crack games, like
Yeah,
modify the game files to operate without authentication to servers or whatever, or to the disk. Uh, I think that's one of the things they're worried about because there is a PS4, um, you know, scene for games, and that's pretty much what they do is they get the package from the store, and then they extract it and send it over to their computer and modify it so that it works without authenticating to the PSN store. And then so it's like, oh, if you return that game right after like an hour or whatever, but technically you stole the game and you still have it. So I think that's why they're kind of,
yeah,
at least the digital portions, it's kind of difficult to work
mm.
with because
yeah.
you don't know who's going to be doing that. Because you're like, oh yeah, I bought this game, I don't want to play it. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll see a pattern after a while. Like, this fool returned every single game that he's bought in the past like 2 months.
I mean,
But
I'm sure, yeah, because technology is obviously getting more advanced, and hackers and stuff like that is they're becoming more apparent, and more ingenious in
mhm.
their methods. So it's kind of, yeah, it's I can see what you mean.
Mm.
Yeah, it's probably just a big security issue. So it's probably not that they don't want to offer it. I think mostly it's because of that. They could probably lose hella money that way too.
Mm.
Because that if that's what I used to do with PS2. Because PS2 to mod the games, you can install hard drive in the back if you had the network adapter, right? You unscrew the back and it fit a one of the big ass 3.5 hard drives in there, and the network adapter holds it in, but it also is an IDE connector to your PS2, so you can read content on the hard drive. And there was a thing called like HD Advance or HD Loader, which is hard drive loader, and you can stick your disk in, and then it'll rip the content, and that's it. You can play it from your hard drive, like you didn't need the disk anymore. So it's
Jesus,
pretty
I didn't
much
know that.
that.
I could have done that with my heart
Yeah,
too.
and
My network adapter.
I had 200 gig hard drive in there, and the games are only like 6 gigs, 8 gigs, because that's all that fit on the DVDs. And I was like, damn, I have hella games now. So I would go to GameStop and do the used game thing because you have 7 days to return it and get a full refund, or trade it for something else. So I was like, oh, let me return this and get this game. And then I'm surprised they didn't catch on because I would go to different GameStops. But,
I was all about
yeah.
to say, I was like, you got away with that going to the same store. I was like,
It was easy to do it though. Like it took like an hour, like depending on the game size. Like, oh shit, I got a new game, Mega Man Command Mission. Psh, pop it in, watch a TV show. Boom, done. Take this out, next disc. Like
Mhm.
different game. Like, oh, what's this? Orphan. Boom, pop that in. Done. Like, oh, Tekken 4. Done. Like that. It was that easy, and it's even easier now because it's digital. You
yeah,
just download it, boom, it starts it on your system forever. Then with modded PS4s and modded systems, there's ways to access your files on the system like a computer. Usually they're hidden. Usually when you see the interface on the PS4 or the Xbox, it's just like the game, like load this game or whatever. But on the modded ones, you could actually see what type of file type it is, transfer it to USB, transfer it via FTP, which is through your computer. It's pretty crazy, dude. So, um, but yeah, back to the refund thing. That's probably one of the biggest issues I think they are seeing with that. Yeah. Sorry, you guys are like, you fucking nerd.
we don't know nothing about life, right?
Right. These guys, why am I doing a podcast with them? Just kidding. All right. Let's move on to the next topic then. Do life experiences make you want to play games or a type of game? Khoa, you want to start it off?
Yeah. So, want to give me a little more context for that one?
Like
You mean
something that you have experienced in your life, like anything from like a school subject, or like maybe you went fucking snowboarding and you're like, damn, snowboarding's tight. I want to play a snowboarding video game. You know what I mean?
Or
like
it's like,
similar.
man, the military's kind of crazy. I don't want to.
No, not experiences you haven't done. Experiences that you have done, like something that you have done in your life. Does that inspire you to want to play a video game? Or like, has there anything that happened in your lives that make you want to play a video game or a certain type of game? I guess.
I guess there was one. With Legend of Dragoon, I actually my dad used to be a dragoon, so I thought that was really cool how they incorporated that. So honestly, no, I don't. There's nothing. Yeah, my dad used to fucking fight dragons all the time with a sword and spear. No, I don't think there's anything. I mean, the closest thing I can probably think of is like. Actually, no. I'm sorry. I lied. I have nothing in terms of like experience. I think if I were to play games, I usually try to forget about like my life experience, right?
Right. Okay.
I can totally see how someone, like, oh yeah, I love playing volleyball in real life. Oh shit, they got a high Q anime volleyball video game. Like I'm about to get this game or something, I can see it like that. But for me personally, I don't have anything.
Word. How about you, Spyro?
I think it's kind of it's a similar thing to what Qual was going about. Like a lot of people kind of use video games as an escape. But I feel like there are a few things to where, because football was my first passion, kind of second to, fighting games and everything like that. So, I kind of have like a deep connection with it. So, on occasion when like I started playing, football games and stuff like that, because, there's times where obviously, when the Friday night lights are over, I'm just like, man, I got to wait till next week. But, I can just play Madden or something like that, chill out and, kind of learn plays and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a way for me to learn at the same time. And, it's something that's, fun until like, EA kind of, EA got too crazy with it, in recent years. But most of the time I do have as like sort of an escape, something that, when it comes to like fantasy or things that, I've never really experienced. And it's like, or even when it comes to like nature too, because occasionally when you do hike or something like that, you kind of, enjoy the sights and stuff like that. And, when, some games have this sort of like graphical, appraise, like Order, 1887 or, Horizon, then you kind of, it's kind of like a breathtaking feeling. You kind of enjoy the game for what it is. Like a lot of people put their heart and, soul into like, making the game for what it is, like a, their own world, that sort of deal.
It's art, man. It's funny that you guys are like, no, there's nothing. I play games to get away from it. I'm exactly the same too. I think the only things that make like from experience that make me want to play games are like was science, like science experiments, and I'm like, oh shit, like there's games that talk about this stuff,
like Portal.
Yeah, things like Portal or even like Parasite Eve. When I played Parasite Eve when it came out, which was like 97, I think. 90, I want to say 90s, like late 90s. And, I was in middle school. So, and it's talking about like mitochondria and fucking like.
Oh, yeah.
Cells and
the cells and stuff like
yeah,
that.
And I was like,
powerhouse of the cell.
and then like I started learning that stuff in school, and so like I already knew about it in a sense, and it like things like that make me want to do stuff. Sports wise, like I always thought myself like, why would I want to play a video game when I could just do it myself, physically?
Yeah, it's sort of the same deal. I mean, I'm surprised you don't play Just Dance or something, with the. That's
funny. I was gonna bring that up, but. That's gonna be a gift, son. What's so cool?
I placed top 4 in a Just Dance competition at Fanime one year, and I never even played the game.
That's hella funny, dude.
Yeah.
No, I think. Sorry, I'm still laughing at the Spyro thing, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna turn that into a gift.
Go do that.
Put that
Do it
shit on
again. Do
my
it again. Show one
channel.
more time.
Do it again, son. Do it again.
Let's go.
Oh man, it hurts. Um, I think when it came, like I was saying, with sports, like I saw myself playing it more than actually like wanting to sit down and play it. But when
Mm,
it came to like extreme sports, I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Like I don't know if I want to do this to hurt myself. So, snowboarding, wakeboarding. I wouldn't say wakeboarding like extreme, but BMX type shit. Like yeah, I played those games for like um maybe not from trying it, but from seeing it like, oh damn, that's tight. Like can I do that? Can't snowboard all the time. Snowboards are expensive. Got to go to like
Yeah.
Tahoe. Got to be the right season and shit like that. So like, let me fucking play the game. Like Cool Borders, like I love that game, dude.
yeah.
Trying to get so many points, rack up points. Um, but yeah, I don't think any other experiences made me want to play games. Maybe now, like, or actually, I lied. Uh, Maybe a lot of people don't know that before I became like a computer nerd, I actually wanted to be a chef.
Mm,
Yeah. So my plan was to go to ITT Tech to get a computer and tech job because there was the big tech boom back in the early 2000s to have it pay for my culinary school. But I ended up just sticking with like tech stuff because it drew me in because of how growing and expanding it was and shit coming out every day. Um, so I guess I would try to play cooking games, like even if they're hella goofy. So I played a lot of Cooking Mama
on
for
the
the
DS.
DS.
Oh shit.
He's like, glow. He's like,
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm guilty of that, but other than that, no. I think the, since Spyro's making fun of us dancing or me dancing, um, dancers are like kind of elitists in a sense that maybe they're like sensitive with it. Um, like, but I never even played DDR like Just Dance or any of those games. Like, I was like, man, that's not fucking dancing, like, I did play B-Boy for the PSP because it had like real B-Boys in it. Like, they actually reached out to people in the community and like, not just like random people, but they reached out to 20 legit like Hong Tens in there.
Figureheads.
Yeah, exactly. Like pioneers of the scene, not just figureheads, like people who pioneered the shit from the 80s. Like they had Crazy Legs in there. They had like Crumbs. You guys don't know who these people are, but these are like if you look up B-Boy Crumbs, B-Boy Crazy Legs, B-Boy Hong Ten, you'll
Def
see
Jam.
that they're legit. So, but more recently, I got the kids into Floor Kids. Have you guys seen that game? It's a
mm,
fucking breaking game that's like cartoony style and it's more rhythm based though. It's like you have to tap on beat in order to do things, and then you press like up and down to change the level at which you're dancing. So upright is going to be the top rock stuff. If you press down, then it's going to like start to move to a footwork. Then you can do a power, and you have to rotate the stick like in a circular motion to do the power moves, which is like head spins and windmills and things like that. But other than that, like I always shied away from shit. Maybe like I would want to like play like an anime game. Like if I watch an anime, like dude, this would be a sick game. Or like if I watch a show, like damn, I want to play a game about this show. Like
mm.
a Dexter
Initial
game would be
D.
dope, dude.
Right.
Actually,
So
Initial D made me want to actually watch the anime low key because since it's only in arcades and they never really had like console releases and stuff. The only way you could do it is like some weird like stuff with like PC and emulators and stuff
yeah.
like that. But it's
Mhm.
sometimes really difficult to do.
Came out
Or
on PlayStation,
I guess like
Actually,
terms of
PSX.
getting the files and stuff like that. But like I've always have it's kind of like a way for me to like drive a vehicle before I was able to actually learn how to actually drive in real life. But I didn't even know it had an anime. I was like, oh shit, this thing had an anime. It has
yeah,
like
man.
different stages, and I think it's like
That's where the
corresponding with the
game came
actual
from.
like different machines too, because they have like different machines when they have like a brand new game or stuff like that. So I don't know if it's like inter interlapping with it.
I don't know. I never
I
watched it. I
think
know it's
it's
good though.
directly taken from the anime, but yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Now that we're talking about this, I think I actually do kind of remember something that I kind of recently too. It's not necessarily like a life experience because I used to want to do marine biology. I used to want to be a marine biologist, and then I looked at the pay and I was like, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not,
The
maybe not a
seals
marine
weren't the
biologist.
seals weren't good enough, bro.
I was like, not at this pay. And I was like, you got to do this, and sometimes you might get like, I forgot what it was. It was not looking very good. So I was like, yeah, maybe not. But I do love like marine life and like the deep sea and all this other stuff. And I've been watching a lot of like this PBS Eons YouTube channel where they all show all the crazy fish and dinosaur shit. But anyway, so I was thinking, oh yeah, like some people in the comments talking about the game, like game Oceans or something or whatever game where you like explore the depths of the sea or something. You see like
There's
crazy
a couple of
guys.
them now, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
was that. I guess that's one thing that I guess you can kind of pull from like I guess a life experience. An example for me.
Right. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ocean's scary. I'll
Oh
stick
yeah,
to
for
video
sure.
games. Even in the video games, I'm like, I don't know about.
Oh, you were playing
that
the
shit.
VR though with the shark one time.
Dude, when I got the PlayStation, oh yeah, you tried that. I was like, yo. I was
Something
looking
that's
around.
a placeholder for the real thing until you can actually have the courage to do so.
Fuck that. Nah, even the VR, I was like hesitant. I was like, hey, let's try it out because I was testing it because I'd never really messed with VR before. I always felt like at least the older stuff before like PSVR and the Oculus was too like simulated, like you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel that immersive, and it still doesn't because of the controls. But everything else now is like, I was like able to look around and like see it was nuts, and I was like, yo, I'm underwater right now. I'm getting kind of my heart's kind of like I feel my heart getting
They get the heart rate on me.
and then I felt like claustrophobic because it's a deep dive and it goes wrong. It's not even like a game; it's just like a VR simulation, like a video. You drop into the ocean. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna look at this, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden this big ass shark attacks your cage, and then it breaks, and you're like clicking around and panicking and shit. But it's dope because each time that I did it or watched like Khoa do it, and because I had like Jenna do it and a couple other people and I watched each time they did it, you kind of experience something different because they're always looking at a different place. Like Khoa was kind of just like, whoa, dude, like looking around, like
Oh, yeah,
like
man,
a joke.
I was like,
Yeah, he was hella into it, and I'm Jenna's like she's shivering and shit. Me, I'm like getting claustrophobic, like, oh, my heart, like, where's my fucking inhaler for my asthma?
arm.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
But
Where?
yeah, I did it a couple times, and I tried to look in different areas because there were like things that popped up, like especially once you hit like this. There's like a hole, and it takes you into like the deeper part where everything's dark, and it has like the what is it called, like the bioluminescent fish and shit that glow.
Oh hell
and
no!
stuff. Yeah, and it took you real deep like that, and then like each time you look, you could see like things pop up and then disappear, and I was like, oh shit, outside, did you do that? And then like I was looking different ways, and it was cool. So like each time you did it, like it was brand new. It didn't feel the same, even though you were technically going on the same ride, which is the dope thing about it. How about you? You ever mess with VR, Spyro?
I've never done it in my entire life. I
got
mean,
it.
I would at least try it once. I mean, I see all these people doing weird stuff, and I've seen the dark side of the dark side of Twitter with people with virtual reality. So
Yeah. I got a funny story about the VR. Sorry,
well, I mean, there was a recent VR game that came out. It was Half-Life Alyx, and I heard it was pretty good. It was probably like one of the best VR games that's come out ever since the idea kind of came into fruition for trying to make games out of it in general. I think it's a part of the Game Awards too. Now that I mention it, that's coming up a couple of days.
Huh. Yeah.
I think it's best VR game, and I think it's in the best action adventure game category as well.
Interesting. I don't know about the best action adventure game, but VR game for sure. Yeah, the VR is pretty crazy, dude. It's come a long way for sure. I still think they can, if they make like a glove that you can do things with, it's over. I'll be VR all day, like. You know what I'm saying? Dancing in the VR.
It's gonna be like this.
Right? Yeah, so
I don't know if you ever watched that movie Gamer. I think it's kind of like similar to where it's like you're able to like play at home. You got like the VR set, and it's kind of
Is
like
the
you're
one
standing
with
on a platform with a
Leonidas?
Nah,
no,
I haven't.
with
I can
it's
imagine what you're saying. Though.
Gerard Butler. I
Yeah,
think
Jared
yeah.
Butler. That's Leonidas, dude.
You mean it's like when they're controlling the Reptar in the Rugrats movie? You know, you walk in the platform, and then the platform moves with you. Is that what you're talking
Not
about?
just use a Rugrats reference.
It's kind of similar. It was like it's like this FPS game that like takes off essentially.
Oh wait, I think I know what you're talking about.
So like
Yeah.
it's about a kid. It kind of starts off as a kid and it kind of like diverts into like sub stuff and stuff like that. You can like watch it, anybody that's interested. But essentially
seen
like
it a
he's
long
kind of
time ago.
standing on a platform. I kind of forget. I don't know if he had like a VR headset or something like that, but it was kind of to where he could play the game with like motion through like the actual platform itself instead of like having to move around and everything like that.
That's pretty cool. I think I've seen the trailer, so I have an idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
If
I'll try VR if they do that. You know what I'm saying?
If it ever, I
future.
hope it gets to the point where it's like .hack. You know,
Oh
or
man,
like
I don't want no
SAO.
Sword Art Online. Would be
Oh man,
trapped.
that'd be tight. I mean, it would get tight. I mean, there's like a.
I mean, it'd be
I guess
tight.
you
Matrix
might get.
status, you mean?
They do put you
I
to
would've-
sleep, huh? I don't know. Because that is a
that's
little
kinda
bit scary,
scary.
but I mean, I try it.
You get locked out. You can't log out.
I would do it
no.
if it was, if it's like Matrix style, plug it into your nerve system, dude.
Oh, that's a little too crazy.
Oh hell.
you can
You're
feel
gonna need like a
everything,
permanent
too.
implant or something. This
Yeah.
little Metal
It's
Gear
like-
thing.
You get hit in real life.
Just in the shell.
I can't go into work today.
Yeah. Exactly. I can't get her. I got her playing video games. Like what? Her doing what?
Like my eyes. Like my eyesight is a bit pretty bad.
The funny story I was gonna tell you is one time, I don't know, Jenna wanted to play a VR game because and that there wasn't many out because I had just gotten the PSVR, and so it was the one she wanted to play was the Until Dawn, the Rush of Blood or whatever.
Oh,
And I was
the
like,
scary
yo,
game, right?
You know this is a scary game, right? But I was like, it's a shooting scary game, and she was like, okay, then yeah, maybe. Bro, she was fucking sweating. I'm not even joking. She started sweating and she was screaming. She didn't want to look up. But then like, it was the best, dude. The game was dope, but I was never able to play it again with her because she got freaked out. But at first I was like, "You want to play this? Are you sure? Do you know what this is?" She thought it was like a carnival thing, because I had the clown on I think it's like the cover or whatever. It has like a clown on it, and she thought it was like a fucking circus thing, but. It was hilarious, dude. I don't know why I didn't record it. Or either I recorded it and she deleted the video, but it was super funny. Like I've never seen anybody sweat like physically. Like she was because it covers your head, and then I had the headphones too, and I could see like the droplets coming down her cheek there. Unless it was tears.
A little both, it's a mix of both. I see what you're talking about. I played the regular version, but I've seen this the VR game.
Wait, didn't Heavy Rain do that too? Like it was like a VR sort of thing where you did like motion instead of using the controller to like do movements and stuff like that.
I don't think so. Unless they made a VR patch later or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff you had to different aspects of the controller you had to use. I think. Yeah. Maybe more so until Dawn.
It's like a hybrid or something. I don't know because. I feel like because VR wasn't like a good selling point yet, so I don't know if like Heavy Rain was like one of those like beta tests to like kind of do like a hybrid of like motion and everything like that to because I think they had like a not exactly like a VR, but it was like I forgot what it was called. It was like PlayStation something. They had like
PlayStation
two little
Move, right?
Yeah,
sticks. Yeah, they still use that for the VR.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was just like a a beta test for that, like kind of like a little mini hybrid to bridge the gap a little bit. So I think it did have like directional inputs on the Move, right?
Talking about these.
Mm-hmm.
I like how
you got
the blurred out like
uncensored.
I
know, like
censored.
That's supposed to be.
They're both.
Yeah, I think you're talking about these.
Yeah, it has like directional inputs on them,
These
right?
are called. I don't think they're called the nunchuck. No, these ones don't, but they do have a one that had. Uh, it didn't have this on it. It had the stick on it. So it
Oh,
was more like the Wii one, the Wii nunchucks than this one. These ones you control with the motion of like because it has the trigger buttons on the back. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I
Mhm.
can't get over the fact that that's like censored every time you bring. So you mean these?
These ones. Hey, I'm ready, dude. We got everything ready. Any topic? Got it covered. Just kidding.
Oh yeah.
um, did we talk about life experiences?
Yeah.
There we did. We just talked about
Okay.
that.
All right. And moving on to the next one. So, reviews. Do they affect your purchasing choices?
100%. I think so. Back then, no, because my brother bought all the games, so I was just stuck playing whatever games he got. It was like, but then I guess in a sense, it was good too because a lot of the games I liked when I was a kid. I'm not sure if it was just because I was a kid, but people said they didn't like it, and I don't know. I feel like if you enjoy a game and then you look at a review, sometimes it skews
Mm-hmm.
your perception. I feel like that with movies, right? You watch a movie and you like it, and then you search it up and like, oh, then what does this ending mean or whatever? And then you see it's rated hella bad and people shit talk it, and I try not to let it like bother me, but sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, I never noticed this. Yeah, I never noticed that. I'm like, damn, I enjoyed the movie. Like, why am I tripping for? You know, like, why am I letting
You're
this thing
easily
affect me?
swayed, my friend.
I
I'm just
know,
kidding.
I'm weak. I'm weak. But no, I mean, if I'm looking for new games now, I think I definitely take that into account. Unless it's like a series I've like, I don't know, just really grown to love, and I would kind of play it out of respect, or just play it because I know I'll enjoy it somewhat, or even just for just the story, right?
Hmm.
But for the most part, yeah, especially with Steam now, it's just so easy to see. Like for
Yeah.
me, I think I really don't pick up games unless either they're very positive or overwhelmingly positive. Even with very
Wow.
positive, I'm still a little wary. I'm like, why is it not overwhelmingly positive? Oh,
Jeez.
I know.
Oh, it's snob over
Obviously, you know,
here.
geeked out. You know what I'm
It's not
saying? I have
overwhelming. I don't
AirPods
want it.
only.
Give me cooking, mama. Just kidding.
But I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, there's obviously caveats and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still pretty open to stuff, but I definitely like to research it first, just in case, because you never know like what could be wrong with it in
So
terms
what
of like
if
bugs.
I
I feel
tell
like
you to play a game that's
okay,
I think was super dope,
huh?
but has like the worst reviews ever?
Well, I would listen to. I mean, you told me, right? I would take what a close friend would say more than someone else would say, because I mean, it kind of goes with like the movie thing too. There's a lot of like movies people don't like, but I'm like, damn, this movie was toy. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know if you guys ever seen The Witch,
the
The
one that
Witch.
yeah the that blonde chick that's in Queen's Gambit. What was that movie called?
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Queen's Gambit. Yeah, that girl. I forgot her name. Beth Harmon.
Oh, I
But
don't know her name, but
no, Beth
yeah.
Harmon is the name of the fucking Queen's Gambit girl.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but yeah, yeah. So with something like that, it had a lot of bad reviews. I think it was like I forgot, but a lot of my close friends were saying no, it's bad. And then I watched it, and I was like, this movie's tight. Like you guys have no taste. You
I
know what I'm
think
saying?
because the story was like super obscured and like
Mhm.
you kind of had to look for all the little clues and stuff like that. It's like it's kind of I guess the perfect example would be what's his M. Night Shyamalan movies. Like people
Oh,
his movies are either hit or miss with people. Like some people think what's the one, Signs? Is it the alien one that was
oh yeah, the
afraid of
science.
water? Yeah, with like and they like don't like water and people thought it was like the dumbest thing, but then some people are like that's fucking genius because it's like it's part of our everyday system and like our daily lives. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think his movies are like that. Like they're either
Mm.
like The Village. Have you seen The Village?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
this
I've
is a
seen
village.
that.
Yeah, my teacher
Oh, that
loved
freaked
that.
me the hell out.
Dude,
Like,
it's like this was a society doing this.
Mm.
Fragmented society. I'm just
What? I'm like, it was us. It was us. No, it's fine.
kidding.
But
we
yeah, no,
can't.
Yeah.
it's exactly the same thing. But I think now it's like I don't know. With a friend, I guess you can kind of gauge, right? You have those friends where you can really trust their like opinion on video games. Because if you really vibe with someone, right? Yeah, like Diggs. If
Yeah.
Diggs would recommend me a game, I'd be like, oh yeah, we play the same games. I don't know if the friend that said she didn't like The Witch and said it sucked, recommended me another movie, I probably wouldn't watch it. She said this movie sucked, and be like, it might be good. I might have to watch it now.
I guess it's just it depends on like how well your friends parallel in terms of like movie or likes in terms of like movies or games.
Overall knowledge.
But I mean, I feel like overall reviews pretty heavy for me, I guess, in a sense. I'll try not to be, but if it happens, it happens.
Where? How about you, Spyro?
Well, yeah, kind of in a similar thing to where that I mentioned earlier how I'm very picky about games nowadays. Where I'm like, sometimes it might not be worth the 60. Sometimes I kind of want to wait a little bit, kind of kind of see if if the reviews are good or not. I kind of do a mix of like reviews and get opinions on people who already have the game and stuff like that. So I kind of I have like different people for like different genres. Like if I wanted to get an RPG, I can go to like someone who's very knowledgeable in like RPG games to see like, oh hey, is this a game that I would be I'd be wanting to get. And then at the same time, I kind of have this thing to where there's other games that I feel like are hidden gems that people don't exactly give a chance, because how like when it comes to like hack and slashers, they're always hit and miss. And especially when it comes to like Dynasty Warriors, that the Samurai Warriors like from Koei Tecmo, like usually that's always like a roller coaster when it comes to like whether or not the game is good or not.
You dancing all through the podcast this time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, like most of the time it's like, oh, it's the same repetitive thing, et cetera, no new features. I feel like there, it kind of has that similar thing, but there are certain entries in the series that are actually pretty good if people take the time to actually, envelop themselves in the series.
Right.
And like
on the surface, that game is they just feel like, oh, they already have the game. Let's give it a different storyline, but keep everything the same. Like that's what it looks like, because it's like, it's the same.
They add new characters and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or you can play somebody from Soul Calibur now, and then it's a reskin. Here's the Zelda game, and then here's the Berserk game, or here's the Seven Deadly Sin game. Like it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it's like but the thing is like they hate on those games, but then they revere like Legends of Zelda, like the Zelda series, Zelda like the Hyrule Warriors games is like, oh my god, they're godlike. I gotta get Age of Calamity and stuff, but they be knocking on like
the OGs, Dynasty Warriors, bro.
The OGs paved the way. They ran they walked so you could run.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like that game a lot. Like that, I don't think people should focus too much on like the story for that game. Like that game's meant to just fucking mindless fun, like hack and slash. Oh, I'm leveling up. Oh shit, I got new gear. Sick. Like, I mean, you can make it deep too.
You can learn a little bit of history from like both Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors. It's like
those are all real motherfuckers.
The Three Kingdoms, and then you got the feudal era. Like I mean, there are some new characters that they add into the game that are like very fictional, but the majority of the characters that they turn from like NPCs into actual characters is kind of like amazing to see how how far it's kind of progressed. Where it's like, oh, we're gonna turn this NPC into an officer, a character you can play and make him unique. That's why I kind of And then it's like, oh, what could we do to set the bar even higher? Let's mash both series together.
Yeah. I was like, and then add new enemies. And then they're like, let's make it even crazier. Let's give them fucking demonic powers and shit. And then you got Warriors of Orochi, and they can fucking change their Mushu and shit. I was like, yo, this game is crazy. I played every Dynasty Warrior or the Warriors series since Dynasty Warriors 3. So like I like all of them too. Like I think people do see like only what's on the surface. Like, oh, it's the same fucking game. Like it's the same combos and shit. Like no, dude, just play the game. Like it's fun. And when you play with people, it's even better. Like and like you said, there's history involved. Like all those people are real, dude. Like they're in Chinese history and Japanese history.
Like the Yellow Turban Rebellion, or South, trying to like claim the land for himself. That sort of deal.
Those are real places too. Like, and I think some of them are even real battles like that took place. And now they make it even crazier now because they added like the mythos to like the the Roman gods and like Zeus is in there and shit
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
like the new Warriors Orochi.
Yeah,
It's
so
like, oh, okay,
it's
Orochi's
crazy.
dead. What do we do now? It's like, oh, let's add the Norse and the Greek gods, and then
Yeah,
have.
exactly. So I mean, it's cool because like it always gives it the potential to be limitless. You know what I mean? Like, what else can we add? Like, oh shit, like let's get the
Mhm.
license for these characters, and that's what they're doing because Berserk is the exact same thing. And I just finished the Berserk game, and I thought it was dope. Like, it went all the way up to an arc that the older animes and well, I think the older anime went up to it, but it stopped before it. And the gameplay was dope. Like you can see him like the anger and his character and the story, like it followed the manga to a T. It even used like the animation that they did release recently for the Golden Era or the Golden
Oh
Age.
yeah.
It like took clips straight out the movie, just threw that bitch in there. So like that was dope. And I just got the Seven Deadly Sins game because the kids are all about Seven Deadly Sins right now. They're like they call me Meliodiggs.
That's funny. That's pretty
So
clever.
yeah,
Oh, because you short too. I get it. You tiny.
exactly.
You
But I'm
tiny.
the captain, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, they're all about Seven Deadly Sins. So we're about to play that. I saw C Mart playing the Zelda game recently, and like it looks fun. Like I don't know anything about the Zelda story because I never played any of the Zelda
Yeah.
games. But it looks fun, you know.
Yeah, I heard the Hyrule Warriors did really well, and then when Age of Calamity was announced, everyone was like, "Oh, I gotta get it!" Hyrule Warriors was godlike.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that snowball effect to where it's like if they finally decide to try like a hack and slasher or something that's new, but it's they put the IP on it, so it's kind of like it's kind of the same thing with Tekken where it's like it's they had the resurgence of Tekken. How are we gonna get more people to try it, gain more popularity? Oh, let's put Akuma from Street Fighter in there. Oh, let's put Geese from KOF. Like kind of putting in like using IPs or trying to come up with like marketing strategies to kind of bolster sales and kind of bring a revitalization of like certain genres that you don't normally get to see as much anymore. It's like normally it's like you see FPSs, you see RPGs, you see MOBAs. You don't really see like hack and slashers as often, or good sports games.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Why'd you laugh about sports games, Doug?
EA, I'm looking at you.
Sorry, guys. Is there a joke that was told? I missed it or something. Yeah, I
We
think they did Fire Emblem Warriors too. Took all the Fire Emblem people. I think it just depends on like what is skinned because you could say the
yeah
same thing about Valorant now. Like Valorant's fucking Counter Strike, just
yeah
reskinned and given like heroes.
with
Like
personalities and sort of like things that go with the actual character. It's like, oh, Sky,
exactly.
she's Australian. She has
She
nature
what?
like
Sorry. Ah, no, that's
she
an
got
inside
like
joke.
nature like abilities. Or you got Phoenix, he's kind of like a very energetic, hot-headed, sort of like person, and they kind of it's representative
Phoenix.
of the abilities that he uses.
Phoenix is Ryan Hart, dude. Yeah, when I
Show's
first
over.
saw him, I was like, "Yo, it's Ryan Hart, dude. He's in a video game." It's like him 20 years ago. Um, yeah, I mean, for me with reviews, I would say I read them, but they don't dictate like my purchases or like what I play, like at all.
Mm.
Like for me, that's how I found like a lot of games that I enjoyed. People said the Orphan game for PS2 was fucking garbage, and I played it and I was like, yeah, I had control issues, but what game at that time didn't? It's the PS2 era. Like
Mhm.
the technology and game development wasn't as to what it is right now. Like you didn't have the option to create or code those type of things to make it as technical as you wanted it to be. um, I could probably go through the list of games that I played, but I don't remember the titles right now. It's like, damn, this game was tight. Like, I think it was fucking like X Blades, but I think that's the second game.
Oh yeah,
Um, is that the second game? What's the first
yeah.
game called? Something Blades, right? Blades of Time or some shit like that. I don't remember,
I
but
don't know,
that
it's like
game was dope
Caliber or
too.
something. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, yeah, it was about this chick and she had two blades, and then like it was a hack and slash pretty much. And
Yeah,
it
but
was
with fan service.
yeah, right. And it was dope, but like the story was cool. It wasn't like
Yeah,
crazy. It was like, oh man, this is a pretty clever story. And same thing. Yeah, there's just a lot of games that are hidden gems as they call it. Not like fucking this game is gonna blow you out the water style, but
yeah,
games that like you thoroughly enjoy are games that have gotten bad reviews or decent to bad reviews, at least for me. So that's why I never have an issue. Like, oh, they said this game whack. It's fucking tripping. Like, who paid them to say that this game was whack?
Right.
yeah.
So
When it comes to reviews, I think like the main thing that I look for is either like a common denominator. Like, and usually when I do, like sometimes oh, the story's garbage or the story's garbage. Sometimes that might be a hit or miss. But sometimes the main thing I do look for is like technical issues. If there's an issue with the game or something like that, like if you buy the game on Steam, is the PC port actually good or not?
hmm.
Like sometimes if you end up buying it and stuff like that, and then you have trouble either playing the game, like it's not like an issue of the capture card or your computer or something like that. It could be just the actual like game itself being ported onto that particular platform and its issues. Some like technical stuff like that, then I kind of see if there's like a common problem before I kind of buy it or something like that. But usually when it comes to other things, when it comes when it has to do with reviews, that I'm kind of like cautious. I kind of make sure that I get more information before I buy a game or decide whether or not it's the right choice.
Right. Yeah. I mean, now reviews are kind of just used to, I guess, for me to learn more about the game, in a sense, for like when I'm going to play it. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, because obviously you have to buy the game. Like I think Spyro was saying earlier, like, is it worth the $60 to play it? Like, should I spend it now or should I like wait? Because like, oh, this is a game I want to play, but it's maybe not on the top of my list right now. So
Yeah.
I'll wait till it drops in price and like, oh, $20. Yeah, that's the game. I've been meaning to play that. Like, let me get that. So
Mm.
I think that's what I use reviews for, like, or like where I'm gonna stack it on when I'm gonna play it, as opposed to like, am I gonna buy it or not? So
Yeah.
it's like, I think usually when I decide whether I'm gonna buy a game or like play a game or like want to play a game, like, I know that's like kind of running around like the bush, like buy a game, like wanting to play the game, or like I'm going to play the game. So um I think it's more based on like what I see from it visually, because I'm pretty easily drawn into it. I'm like, oh, the game looks interesting. Like, why not? Like, I didn't play Destiny for the story. The story was so convoluted when it came out. Like, I played the game to like shoot things and like it looked tight. You know what I mean?
Collect
Like,
loot.
yeah, exactly. It's a looter shooter. I don't give a fuck about no story. Like,
or like with Borderlands, it's like you get to do all the above. It's like it has a story, you're able to loot, customize yourself, you kind of just like have fun, and it has like humor and stuff like that into it too, so you kind of
right.
you buy it for like
You
the
can
whole
buy it
complete
for any
package.
one of those reasons, or the whole
Yeah,
package, or
what
like,
the IP is like known for, something that you would expect coming out for, it's like, oh, it's Borderlands, it's gonna have like crazy humor,
over
ridiculous
the top
guns.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a gun that broke the game. I don't remember what it was, but it was like a automatic shotgun, but the shells were rockets.
Oh.
What the heck?
And so like every time I used the gun, my game would crash, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't use this. But yeah, that's how reviews are for me. I just I kind of like get mad at people when they're like, yeah, I read the reviews on it, so I'm not gonna buy it. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I,
Like, you don't have a mind of your own. Like, use your own
I
mind to
think
decide whether you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think as gamers, since we're kind of like hardcore, we've kind of, gone through, different ages of gaming and, actually like playing, certain genres and stuff like that for ourselves, that we can we have like a bit of you know, advantage, I guess, in terms of, learning if an actual game is worth our time or not. Because we can kind of look at certain things like sometimes we can use other things of information as like, a reference for something to make a decision if we're still thinking about it. But I think, over time, compared to like a casual audience, that we have, more leeway in, making a better decision for ourselves because we've kind of, experienced, different worlds, different games, genres, that sort of deal.
Right.
Yeah,
Technically,
I
what you're
think.
saying is we're more experienced in a sense. Sorry, Claude. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
No, that's all I was
okay,
gonna say.
yeah, okay. No, I was gonna say like
Stare
yeah,
contest?
Spyro has a point because like when it comes to like I don't know the average person playing a game or something, or maybe I don't know someone that doesn't play games too often, they'll be like, oh, what do you think of this game? And they'll be like, oh, it's pretty good. And I'm like, okay. But then what if it's like us, like, okay, well, hey, what do you think of this game? Or like, what's the combat like? Is it like this game? Or oh yeah, it's kind of like this game, or it's kind of like that game. So I think we'll have like a. That's what I find I'm doing more of is like I'm comparing it to a lot of other previous games I've played, because you kind of like fine tune your experience. Like you kind of automatically know, like, oh, this game is like hella grindy. I'm like, I don't really like that type of game. I'll probably avoid it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's yeah, we're experienced, so we kind of know what we like and wouldn't like in a game. So that helps our choices. Whereas other people are just like, it was good, or it was
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
especially when there's like certain things in the market, like when it comes to FPSs, it's like, oh, what FPS do I want to play? Oh, there's Call of Duty. Oh, there's Battlefield. They're kind of like in the same genre, but they have like different things about them. So it's kind of, getting an idea of like having a second opinion or,
You laughing at Khoa?
I can't.
Spyro laughing too. I just saw Claw's face go.
But no, like even if you're experiencing like a particular genre or something like that, there's always sort of like different nuances for games, and sometimes you might not be experiencing a certain thing. Like, oh, you want the arcade feel, the shooter, kind of like die respawn sort of thing. You like, get back into the action, or like Counter Strike, where it's a little bit slower, relies more on teamwork. You're more I guess you're more inclined to like find friends and stuff like that, play with them, learning maps, that sort of thing. Whereas like Call of Duty is like, oh, just get
Run and gun.
buddies, yeah, run and gun, do your thing, that sort of deal. So it's kind of getting like a variety is the spice of life, I guess.
Yeah,
Sense.
I think there's just also too many damn games. Right? Like if you think about it, there's so many options in general. So, what? There's a lot of games. I think, and that's kind of where people will start to have the little divisiveness between each other. It's like, oh, Call of Duty's better than Battlefield. Like, nah, you're tripping. Battlefield's better than blah blah. Or like, Counter Strike's better than Valorant. But it's like you play what you want to play. So, and just because, yeah, we have an advantage because we're older and we've been playing games for a long time. So, when it comes to making those decisions, it's easier for us to be like, well, yeah, this game's tight. I might want to play it. This game's cool. I'm probably not gonna play it though. That's probably like the biggest thing.
Or you're unsure about like a certain feature. It's like, oh, it's a shooter, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with the system. Maybe I could look into reviews, or find someone that's experienced in that sort of thing and get a second opinion before buying it. So that's where like those little things come into play, where you're not familiar with something, and then it expands your knowledge if you actually do want to try it.
Right. I generally, I guess reviews. I generally just like to watch a video. Like, let me see how it actually plays, because people talk about shit, but then it's like, I know it's a lot of them are doing their best to try and like keep their bias and personal opinions out of it, but
Yeah, it's hard.
but at the same time, like, show me how the fucking game plays, and then
I think
I'll
you can,
decide from
you
there.
can get an idea of like how a reviewer is based on, how they talk, and, the overall like vibe. I kind of do that too whenever I'm looking at reviews, and normally I can see if this person's actually experienced at reviewing video games or not. Kind of like the IGN effect.
Gosh.
Because
Tell
IGN
us
has
the
a
IGN effect. Educate us.
So I mean,
Review
like,
us. Just kidding.
IGN is kind of like whenever they make reviews, I kind of go through them, especially if it's particular games that I've already liked or already bought, and then I kind of go back and see what their opinion is on them because I've already experienced the game for myself, and I want to see if they have like a similar opinion or something different. I kind of like compare notes essentially, and a lot of them seem to like only play a game for like a couple of hours. They don't finish the game, or you can kind of tell that they're not the most experienced, or they're not even gamers in general. They're just random journalists trying to they got a job and they're just
Yeah.
you can kind of get
just
my
a
point.
journalist who has never played a video game in his life. It's like, I'm gonna review all these games.
Yeah, you can kind of get like that's why I go to like different specific YouTubers because they're they have the sort of experienced old heads, even like some of the new heads. I kind of get like a whole like pool of opinions.
Across the spectrum.
A
Sorry.
whole spectrum. But yeah, we're kind of like going, around in circles, a broken record at this point. But
Nah, I think Khoa had something to say. Khoa was gonna say something about something.
oh yeah,
I forgot now.
Yeah. Yeah, you did bring up one good thing about reviews though. I think that when people are reviewing things and they haven't played through the whole game. When the review's based on like a demo or something, those
yeah.
those are the worst. And like, dude, you played 3 hours of the game,
Like,
the
oh, I only got this far in the story. I think the story's kind of garbage. The gameplay mechanics are coming in, and then
Yeah, those are the worst reviews when they haven't played through the whole thing. Like, I don't think that's considered a review. That's just you complaining about the early game.
because they kind of structured it into like their main review, like kind of talking about different parts of the game that are kind of like a FPS, like how is it online, or does the guns feel good, does the movement feel good, it's kind of like stuff that's kind of towards that specific game that they talk about, and then they have like a summary, they grade it. And then usually under the grade, they have like the pros and cons as to why they graded it that way.
Yeah, they try to break it into like mechanical
views
as opposed to like actually reviewing the product as a whole.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the biggest thing why I don't.
You also got those fake reviews too.
Oh god.
Or like, they hate on a game like, Tekken, for example, like a lot of people when they had the new season came out and they had the Wi-Fi indicator. So a lot of people who have Wi-Fi are not being able to play because the people who are wired are skipping them on purpose because they don't want to deal with
I do it all the time.
Yeah. So like they're making bad reviews on Tekken because of the fact that they can't find a match. It's like, man, this is against Wi-Fi and this is against people who play Wi-Fi. You know what I'm saying? This is discriminatory. Like I hate this game. It's trash. So like reviews like that. Obviously, you would want to avoid.
That's hella funny. I skip those views all the time, dude. I'm not guilty. Wire up, dude. I'm just kidding.
Or even Last of Us 2, else like within recent controversy, like some people like it, some people hate it. It's kind of like it recently won the Golden Stick Award for Game of the Year. Oh, wow. But you don't know what's going to happen in this Game Awards. It's coming up on the 10th of December, so it's kind of like everyone has their own opinions, reviews.
That's
like
what it comes down to, pretty much. Personal taste and personal opinions. Like I think that's what all reviews are. It's very hard to find like an honest review based just on like what the product is.
Yeah.
So that's why when I do find those reviews, like, this guy is good, or this girl is good, or this person is good.
Very knowledgeable.
Interesting.
All right, let's move on to the next one. So a lot of gamers have ADD, right? I would say almost every gamer has a backlog.
Oh yeah.
The thing, it's funny because I'm super guilty of it, but gamers generally tend to make a backlog and they never clear it because they're always adding shit to it. That's why.
Yeah.
So I know I'm super guilty of this because when I was making a lot of money, I know PlayStation updated their store every Tuesday, and I know GameStop had sales that went up every Wednesday. So every Tuesday, I was like, I need to see what I can buy. But it wasn't even like I'm gonna play the game. I just need to see what I can buy. Like, fuck,
You're
this
so
game's
smart.
50% off. I'm gonna buy it. And that's why I have like a 2000 game backlog because I had that issue, and I don't even know what it was. It was like it wasn't. I think I was just trying to buy every game in the store. Like that was my goal, but they added all those little like indie games too, so it made it hard. Like the dollar games, the $5 games, so made it
Yeah.
hard to collect every single game in the store. But I'm gonna do it one day. So I'm already at like 4,000 games, but
You're gonna become the
um,
librarian.
I'm gonna become the PS4 librarian, yeah.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
and it was like before they had the PSP games, the PlayStation Mini games, the PSN only games, the PS1, PS2, PS3 games. Like I was trying to buy it all, and I was like, "Fuck, why am I doing this?" and then
I don't even like
and
this
then I
game.
I
stopped.
got a
Yeah, and then
problem.
I stopped, and I was like, "All right, maybe it's time to start clearing the backlog." So it's been quite a journey. I've been doing it for like 2 years, but I've cleared like at least 400 games. I got check.
Damn,
I have
that's
my
crazy.
backlog on my Twitch. You can see how many games I've cleared, and I have it categorized by a console and like when I completed it and shit like that. But um, yeah, I have a lot of games to play, and I actually haven't bought a game for like. um Oh, since Seven Deadly Sins. So it's been like 6 months, but this game, well, it was $20. I was like, fuck it. And the kids, mostly for the
Hmm.
kids, because they're gonna
That's how
play
it
it.
starts.
But before that,
It's $20.
it's $20. Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
it's
Black
$9.99.
Friday. I was like, Final Fantasy VII remakes $25.
Oh no.
Neo 2 is $10. Like I was tripping. Like all these games are on sale, and I'm like, damn. But I stopped myself. I didn't get anything. Yeah, so before that, I think the last game that I bought was like Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which was back earlier in the year. So
Oh yeah.
I've been a good boy. Um, but yeah, I don't know why I did that, and uh, it's cool because I mean, it's not cool that I spent that much money because now the games are like dirt cheap. I probably could have
Yeah.
saved like thousands of dollars from doing that, but now that I'm going through the backlog, I'm like, oh damn, why didn't I play this game when it came out? Or like, oh shit, this game is tight. Like now I have to
Yeah.
find people because the servers aren't live anymore. Or sometimes like to find people to play. Like, come play this game with me, man. I'll buy it for you. It's $2.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that every single gamer has this issue, especially the ones that like get into it. Not just the people like I play Call of Duty, that's it, but like the people who buy games and have their own systems and do their like
Yeah.
you eventually
Yeah.
get a backlog. Like, and what do you think one of the reasons is for that? Spy, I'll start with you. Since Qual stealing
Well,
the thunder here. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel, I mean, within recent times now, because they started offering these like subscription services and stuff like, or like giving games for free, like Xbox when like, 360, when the before the Xbox One came out, they started giving two games for free every month, and eventually it was like indie games, that sort of stuff, and they were running out, so they had no choice but to go to like the AAA titles. Like they gave all the gears away,
Hmm.
from like Assassin's Creed 2 on, they were giving away for free. Um, there was like Warriors Orochi 3 that I bought for Xbox, and then a year later it becomes free, and I was pissed. I was like,
That's
because
funny.
usually I go through like internet and stuff like that. So when it gets towards the end of the month, I try to see the news if like what's the new games that are about to come out,
Yeah.
and then as soon as I see the title, I'm like. But I think in terms of the backlog, it's for me personally, I do have a backlog myself. It's aside, free games aside, and mainly when I'm doing the streaming or when it comes to like stuff for YouTube, I want to do like a either a let's play or stream the game for like people to watch. and eventually it becomes a backlog of like stream games that you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this game and I'm gonna do it for my stream. So because they gave out Yakuza 0 for free, so I was trying to play through the whole Yakuza series, and it's kind of been like hiatuses here and there, and I got back to like streaming Yakuza 0 again because I was playing like other games like Tekken or Maxi Boost. So like and I ended up buying like Kiwami 2 because they gave out Kiwami for free as well. And then, eventually I have to buy like the collection that has like
all the other
3,
remastered
4, and 5,
versions. Yeah.
3, 4, and 5, and then I gotta buy 6. So that's like the backlog of that whole series. And then, there could be like other games that I want to play. So it's like, oh, I finished Yakuza 0. Okay, let's go to Yakuza Kiwami. I was like, nope, we're gonna play a different game this time. We're playing Tekken. And then it becomes like that sort of cycle to where like, it's like a streamer ADHD too. Like streamers have that sort of issue, in Sarity, because he has his own backlog as well when he's been kind of like making a schedule like for viewers and stuff like that. So, okay, we're going to go through Bloodborne first, then we're going to do Dark Souls, and we're going to do Dark Souls 3. Right. And then, there's times where like he takes a break from Bloodborne to play Tekken. So it's kind of like this thing to where like it's, like unless you're doing it in one go, it kind of it's
bounces around.
It takes longer and longer to do a game, and then the backlog increases.
Oh yeah,
because the new game comes
out every week.
Yeah, so like Cyberpunk comes out, and it's like I'm trying to do the Yakuza series, but Cyberpunk just came out, and
did it?
You buy Cyberpunk? No, it's about to come out on the 10th.
Yeah,
it got pushed back again.
For now.
Well, I mean.
I think it's already
that one was. I think that was foreseeable because I was like, if they're gonna launch the next gen consoles in November, then they're definitely gonna push Cyberpunk back because they're gonna want that on the next gen console. So, and they're not gonna do like an early release now and then launch it later on the next gen consoles. They want it.
It's like multiple different platforms they're trying to like optimize it for. So, not to mention it's like. I think recently there was leaks and stuff like that for copies hitting, some people are getting like early copies to the game. So like a lot of people have been avoiding like Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that. So the game is done at this point.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. 10 days before release, it better be done.
Yeah.
They better be prepping for shipment and all that. Now they're just producing copies. Anything that needs to be fixed. I'm sure they already had the copies if they were going to do that because this is all like coding, like the base game content that they're going to patch on day one, I think.
Yeah, some people said it was bug fixes. Some people said that, they didn't want it competing with Ghost of Tsushima and, stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know.
Completely different game.
When you got like releases around the same time, then it's like some people speculate, that sort of deal.
That just happened recently too. I think MechWarrior 5 didn't release, or it's getting delayed because of the Cyberpunk release. So, and MechWarrior is an older series, they're doing the same thing. They're delaying because of Cyberpunk, which is it's smart in a sense. You don't want your game to get eaten up by this game that has ridiculous hype built up around it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the game fails, like people are gonna buy fucking Cyberpunk. So it's like, I bought Cyberpunk in December. Like that was it. Like, oh, MechWarrior 5 came out. Like that game's dope. Like, yeah, okay, Cyberpunk. So,
but yeah, in terms of like what I was referring to earlier, it's kind of to where it's like different factors where like how long a game is, does it have multiplayer, that sort of stuff, and then you have games that are like releasing throughout the year. So like there's another thing to where it's like, this is the big new game coming out. And then there's like another new game coming out the next month, or you got one game
the same day.
You got 2 games that come out the same day, or you got one game that comes out and then the next week the other game comes out. So you're kind of just like you're filling your backlog because there's just there's a continuous stream of games.
Too many fucking games.
There's too many games. Yeah.
How about you, Khoa? You building a backlog?
I've been at a backlog. I mean, it's automatic. I mean, it kind of comes with the territory because it's like back then when you're back at it. I don't know if like back in the day when I was a kid, you don't really have a backlog per se. You kind of just play it as you get it, right?
Everything.
Or a job.
Yeah, man. I didn't have a job. I had my brother, so I got whatever games he got. But yeah, no, I think yeah, so for sure the whole PS Plus, wherever the equivalent for Xbox is and free games, that was one. On top of that, you get like all these deals all the time. There's always some type of deal going on. Steam
Yeah.
Summer Sale,
Always.
Golden Week in Japan,
Or like Capcom
freaking
sale.
yeah, Black Friday. Oh
Oh
damn, you
my
missed Black Friday
god.
sale. Cyber Monday, and it's like, oh
Oh
wait, no,
my
just kidding.
gosh.
Okay, Tuesday you can still buy some
Let
stuff
it
too.
be over. It's not
Yeah,
over
there's
yet.
always
Just
something.
kidding.
Yeah, so I think that, and then the fact that there's so many good games out right now. Like as the industry grows, there's more developers, there's more ways to spread information about your game. There's streamers that like stream different games, so you get a ton of different yeah, just a ton of different ways for you to get exposure to a bunch of different games. And you're like, damn, this game's tight. And, oh, this game's only like $5, but it's like rated like, oh, hella good or something like that. I mean, there's a ton of games like that, and you're like, oh, it's $5. Like,
Well,
yeah, I
the
mean, what's
Among
$5 to
Us.
me,
That's
right?
the Among Us thing
Or
right there.
yeah, Among Us, there you go
Mhm.
too. That's like $5 or something like that, right? So um yeah, for me, the reason I have a backlog is because what I end up doing is I'll buy some games, but then I really like the social aspect of playing multiplayer games. So I would like, play a solo player game for a bit, and I'm like, oh man, I want to hop on Valorant. I want to have those funny, those fun moments where everyone's like yelling at each other or we're all laughing or
You want
something
to
like
Like, what
that.
are
have
you
Right?
those
doing,
motherfucking
bro?
Mary
Like,
Poppins
what's
You
moments.
was in the
up?
middle, bro. Why are you going away from me?
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
away
Yeah,
from
so
the
stuff like
fruit.
that. So that's why I noticed I do. Like I'll play a little bit of like a single player game, like maybe a little bit, but I'm always like, man, trying to hop on Valorant. You guys want to play
Mm,
some? I mean, back then it was League for me,
right.
but Maple Story, oh no, all that stuff. I end up coming right back to it. But one of these days, I'm gonna work through my backlog. I'm gonna say that, but I don't know.
Right. It's just gonna get it's gonna get bigger. It's like
Yeah,
debt just follows you forever and gets bigger.
yeah.
Yeah, I think to piggyback on what he was saying too, because like when it comes to streaming, especially the small streamers, like the big games is gonna be very hard to get noticed. So
Mm,
obviously, like you end up buying these like the hidden gems or like the niche games that like nobody really plays, but maybe they that's all part of reviews too. So like they see a game that they never thought to try from like a small streamer, like oh shoot, maybe I should give this game a shot. you know
right.
and then like the backlog of like having small games because it's difficult for you to get viewers on the bigger games because you got like each community kind of has their sort of like god or somebody that they look to for a stream.
I'm just kidding. I'm talking about this one. You know what I'm saying?
Like Fortnite has Ninja or Call of Duty has some of the pros that they people go to like streams and stuff like that. So obviously it's hard to get noticed. So that's where like people start buying like these smaller niche games, and then the backlog kind of begins because it's like hey I want to play I want to play like a very well known game for my viewers, but at the same time if to get even more viewers, sometimes you might have to have a backup.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, you definitely have to choose. I think with that, it's more about like choosing games that where you're not gonna get drowned by obviously the big streamers and everybody else trying to stream the game. It's more
And
about
then having
choosing.
fun too. So it's like,
Yeah, you have to balance that, and that's like one of the harder things about streaming. But um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think the whole backlog thing is funny to me. I'm doing my best to try and beat it before I buy any more games, just because I'm like, "Ugh, don't buy it. Like the deal's so good, and I'm just like, don't do it. And then now it's even better because I have kids, and I'm like, that's Brooklyn's lunch money for the whole week. Like,
There you go. There
that'll
you go.
be that's Noriko's
Gotta think
say,
present.
hey,
And
responsibly.
Brooklyn, you
then
want
I'm
a you
like,
want a brand new game?
dude,
Or do you want
yeah,
lunch? You want
yeah,
to eat?
it's funny because that she got a Switch for her birthday, which was in November, so like which just passed, and they got a Switch Lite. So I mean, she's playing Minecraft now, which is cool because she's like learning shit and like she's super. It's hella funny. Jenna hates it because she's like, she even talks to herself like you do when you play games, and I'm like, everybody talks to themselves, just not out loud.
Yeah.
so she's like, yeah, mom, I was making these planks and the things that you put on the floor. Like Jenna thought it was like the plank challenge or whatever that they used to do back in the
Mhm.
day. But yeah, it's cool because like you get to see her growth in the game because when she first started, she fucking dug a hole in the ground and stayed there. because she was scared of the monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
But now she's running out and like beating them up to get the
Ooh.
materials and stuff. And she built like a 2-story house. She built a fridge. It's not like I don't think you could craft an actual fridge in the game. I've never played the game to be honest.
Anything is possible.
So like she crafted. She made like 2 blocks on each side, and in the middle she put a crafting table, or not a crafting table, storages, and then she put a door in front of the storages. And that's our fridge.
That's right.
Like, yo, this is super genius.
He's like, got it for her dad.
Yeah,
Genoa never thought of that.
Far too fall from tree. Yeah, so like that's tight, and that's her. I can see her using like the critical thinking and stuff like that, but. Yeah, she wanted like fucking Animal Crossing for a Switch, and she doesn't even play it. She got it for her birthday too. But, like now, you don't need to spend that $60 that you got for your birthday. You can use it on a different game. But try not to get her to have a backlog either. I was like, you either finish Kirby, and then you can play a different game, or you play Minecraft and just play that, because that game's like technically it's a sandbox, so it's endless.
Yeah.
Or
Genshin Impact, where it's just
dude
forever.
Don't even get me started on Genshin Impact. She just likes to climb things and like,
I know,
it's pretty up here, and then she likes to fucking float down, and I'm like, you didn't do anything. You spent an hour doing that. She's still air like 12, and I'm like, bro, you should have been able to play with like Khoa and them. But she's like, I want to play with your friends, and I'm like, well, you have to fucking level up first. Climbing everything. She's like, ooh, like it's so tall. Can I climb that? I'm like, you probably climb it, but don't do it. Next thing, I'm looking over to the side. She's fucking climbing it anyway.
Falls down. Oh.
As long as she's having fun, though, right? All right. The last topic we have, or part of this is, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with the reviews. But what other things influence your purchase choices? So, I kind of just, you can just answer this like. Yes, no, maybe a little bit. Friends?
Yeah. I mean, if a lot of friends pick it up.
Yeah. Same. Definitely, especially for co-op type stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Even if it's PvP or like, but definitely co-op stuff. How about reviews? For me, no effect at all. I think Khoa, you like.
It'll help me like weed out some games for sure.
Varies. Varies depending on what I'm looking for.
Right. Popularity?
No.
Yeah, because like I mean, a lot of people hate it, but it's like usually things are popular for a reason. I mean, obviously you might get disappointed sometimes, but for the most part, it's popular for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was one particular game that I was very cautious about, which was Marvel's Avengers, and like we played the demo. A lot of some of my other friends
game, it just has shitty end game.
So like,
well, I mean, that's why I did say you got sometimes you just gotta see it. Sometimes it sucks.
Some of my friends were vibing with it. I wasn't. I was very cautious about it. I was just like, okay, if you guys are gonna buy it, you're gonna test the game for me. And then I'll see if I'll buy it and then play with you guys, that sort of deal. And then all the other stuff happened, development, pushback, all this other stuff, and bugs, issues, that sort of deal. So like I kind of dodged the bullet with that one. So I think like popularity is kind of like a hit or miss. It's kind of like goes hand in hand with demos and stuff like that, getting reviews, other opinions, trying stuff out for yourself before making that decision. And I kind of like trusted my gut on that. I was like, I don't know, like I'm just gonna wait. See reviews, see if like the rest of the game isn't what I imagined it to be, because I felt like it was similar to a hack and slash, but it had no soul. Like there was no
talking about it's got Avengers in it.
I mean, like I can vibe with the Avengers. That's why I wanted to try it. And we got the co-op, and then all the the characters are like amazing. They got their own sort of thing about them. But in terms of like the world, the stuff that you do, and the missions, that sort of thing, like it felt like there was no heart put into it. Whereas like Dynasty Warriors is like, oh, they put when a new character comes out, or like when they change like certain features, so I can tell like if this change was for the better. They took a risk, or there's like certain things, and it kind of comes into it. It's a new IP, so that's why I was overly cautious as well. So,
Right.
whereas something where you're familiar with, you can kind of get a better understanding and make that choice for yourself.
Yeah. Popularity for me, no, I would say no. Like, I guess because popularity like goes hand in hand with reviews. Like I don't care. If I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna fucking play it.
That's how
So,
Diggs
That's
be.
what I
yeah,
want.
that's how I'm. Yeah.
Just Diggs country.
I guess genre. Is there a genre? I guess you could. This is kind of like a multi-part one, but does the genre affect whether you would purchase or not? For me, I guess it depends, obviously,
Right.
because sports game, probably not gonna buy it. But RPG, maybe.
Mhm.
FPS, maybe. It all depends.
Yeah. Same
So
for me. Um, yeah, I mean, if it's a really good game, like again with popularity, if it's a really good game, even if it's something I don't normally play, then yeah, I'll give it a try. But I do lean towards certain genres more. Like
yeah,
roguelikes, I like roguelikes, or I like JRPGs, something like that. So yeah.
right.
I think because originally when I was a kid, I mainly did hack and slashers and shooters. So obviously like
Arcade style.
if I like a particular genre, then obviously I would just stick with that. But then as I got older, I started playing like RPGs and stuff like that, and I figured maybe like certain hybrids would help like bridge the gap, kind
Mm-hmm.
of because I was optimistic, but I was still nervous about trying out a new genre. So I ended up doing like Borderlands or Mass Effect, kind of like a hybrid between shooter and RPG to kind of see if it was fun or not. And then I ended up falling in love with like both of those series, and then I started broadening my horizons to different genres. So I kind of give everything a chance,
Right.
but I'm still like cautious.
What?
Mhm.
Developers, like, there's a certain developer. If you're like, damn, that developer, yeah, no, I don't care. Give me the game.
Mhm. I feel like it will give me a little more confidence in buying their game, like credibility wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like let me see, what's
Sucker Punch,
no, not Sucker Punch.
Oh,
Bethesda.
live research. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Arc System Works. Like if they made a game, I'm like, oh man, my game's gonna be tight. Like off the
I'm
bat.
obviously
If
gonna
it's a
get
fighting game,
it.
like damn, it's gonna be good. So that's one example. But I'm down to try any game, really, honestly, from any company, as long as it's good or cheap.
Right. Yeah. Good or cheap. Spyro, go ahead. How about you?
Yeah, developer
Devs.
is kind of it's a similar thing with Khoa. Normally over the years I never really paid attention to it, and now that I kind of put like a developer to a game, and then I see how like a series progresses, and then sometimes I like obviously I would buy it just because they've been good as a developer, like like I mentioned Sucker Punch with like Infamous, they made good games off of the series, and then Ghost of Tsushima was a brand new IP that they made.
Ridiculous
But
looking.
it was obviously through the developer. I was like I hearing that this game was godlike, and I was like, hey, let me try this. Sucker Punch has been a good developer. I give them a my honest opinion, and give the game a shot. I fell in love with Ghost of Tsushima. The co-op came out not too long ago. I haven't touched the co-op yet because I actually wanted to experience the whole story for myself. Kind of
Right.
like go through everything. So that's it's kind of like hit or miss. And then you got like other instances like Wolfenstein where the series was off to a good start and then it ended really
Oh,
bad.
you mean Assassin's Creed? No, I'm just kidding.
Assassin's Creed too. I mean, like you got
It
certain,
goes
yeah,
through its motions too.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, I think Sucker Punch is like a better Ubisoft because they stick to their style type of games, but
yeah,
they're not using the same title every time. And then
Mm.
yeah, for
yeah.
me,
I look to
I
yeah,
think the devs is not really a factor, but like I know if I'm gonna purchase the game, I might have an expectation of the game to be better because I'm like, oh,
yeah.
you
Their
know,
history.
yeah, exactly, credibility, like Khoa was saying, and what they've put out. But I definitely try not to hold it to them because dev teams swap out all the time. Like People are
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, Square Enix makes Final Fantasy series," but like, yeah, not every same developer team or creator works on all the Final Fantasies. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's a
Mm.
different team every time, so you never know what you're gonna get.
Or even the
Um,
publishers, as well, if they have like some sort of, decision in making in, the process of, certain stuff like, Sony with Street Fighter or it's another example that I can think of. Activision with Bungie.
mm,
Mm.
That's that sort of thing where like, sometimes the publisher might have like a certain direction they want within the, the game or something like that, or having a say that, all that stuff.
right, right.
Mm.
Oh yeah, everybody knows about
Yeah.
that. And it's not just Bungie too. You know, it's
Yeah.
Blizzard as well
Mm-hmm.
for Activision because yeah, those games were all like instant classics before they were even released. You know,
Yeah.
Warcraft, Starcraft, fucking what else they got on there? Diablo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
but then
Mm.
because the whole Activision thing, yeah, it gets messy with
Yeah,
that
Command
stuff.
and Conquer too, and then the mobile stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
Mm.
mother. That's another episode.
another another topic.
Um, how about art style? Art, if the game like has a specific art style to it, not, and I don't necessarily mean like is it hand drawn, but does it look a certain way or have a certain aesthetic that makes you want to play it or buy it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
like there's certain games like fighting games, for example, that have like sprites
Hmm.
or certain games that like kind of feel sort of like anime like in terms of how 3D models are drawn, or even like Tekken, how it's just like the characters are kind of pop out. The stages look kind of
They all sexy. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
they're all
Oh
amazing.
my
You know what I'm
god,
saying?
Jin's pecs are so good. They gave him nipples.
Yeah,
Oh
even like
man.
the recent stage that came out, it's just
Yeah, it looks
Mm.
dope.
Mm.
Vermilion Gates. It's I feel like not. I don't
Something straight out of
particularly.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I don't exactly look for like a particular art style when I look for a game. I think that if I brought in my horizons and it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye, I kind of give it a chance. Even like Hades too, like it's an indie game,
Mm,
and like I hear that the art style on that particular game is a little bit different from others, but it's I heard it's really good. It's in multiple categories, including Game of the Year.
wow.
So I mean,
Mm.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't let that affect it too much. I mean, the main thing is the gameplay, right?
right.
And how they present it is how they want to present it. It kind of adds to the feel of their game and how they envisioned
Mm,
their product, right? So I can respect that. I mean, there's gonna be certain games that pop out more to me. People don't say don't judge a book by its cover, but I'm gonna be looking through screenshots. I'm gonna be
right,
looking through the art of the game. I'm gonna be looking at oh, this game sounds cool. What does this sound like? What is this? What is that? But maybe like anime. So I kind of really like the anime aesthetic because it's bright. It's just like fun to look at. Usually, I guess it's kind of like associated with a certain type of game.
Mm,
Super flashy, this and that. But I'm not gonna like not play a game because I think the art's ugly. If the gameplay is there, the gameplay is there.
right.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then last one, how about pricing?
Hmm.
Spyro bit his lip on that one.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
it's I don't know because I mean nowadays you're getting into this sort of deal where like games are getting more expensive.
Oh Lord, $70.
Hmm.
Like you're
Mm.
you're in the you're in the
My
day and
heart
age
is.
now.
Oh,
I
I'm in that
remember
cage
I
again with the shark. No, I'm just kidding.
I remember when an expensive game was like $30, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, can you buy me this game?" It's like it's $30. No, I was like, "Dang." And
Hmm.
now you look silly back then. You're just like, "Shit, did my mom really just be looking at like $30?" She's like, "I ain't gonna buy this." Now everything's like 60 to $70 plus microtransactions, DLC, bonus content.
Hmm.
I think that it's kind of hard because usually either it's you could be like free to play games where Warframe you do a good job of it, and then other games where it's obviously exploited, or
Right.
even with like sports
Valorant.
games nowadays where
Hmm.
that's another topic for another time with like EA and FIFA and Ultimate Team packs and that sort of stuff, gambling, everything like that. And
Mm.
I kind of mentioned earlier how being picky with games and then research, reviews, all that sort of stuff that we've talked about throughout the whole episode. And price kind of plays the important role. It's like the main thing. It's like, do I really want to buy this now or, just wait for a sale? It was, I had that same problem with like Cyber Monday. I'm like looking at all the deals. I'm like, shit. It's like $9.99. Like, but it's the base game. It's like, okay, I'm gonna wait for the complete edition or something like that. Or, they gotta have like a, I'll wait. I'm patient.
Mm. For me,
Yeah, ain't nothing to a
I guess it depends on the type of game.
I spent $800 in Valorant, cuz.
I don't know. I think about like the longevity of the
dude.
game for one. I think about like I don't know the type of game. Like, what are you getting out of it? Like Among Us. Like, I'm not gonna pay like fucking $50 for Among Us.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's no gameplay that would like warrant $50 for that.
Yeah.
Like, for that one, I mean, I paid like $15 for it. I mean, the game's cool. It's really popular and whatever, but it's only $5. Like, sure, but yeah, I guess it depends on the content, and then you got to remember, like, yeah, I remember games being like $50 too. I mean, like that's when I remember when I was buying like PS2 games, it was $50, like $50 new game, $50, and then like a couple years ago, or I don't know how many years ago, was it Tekken 6, Tekken 7? I don't know. It was like 60. I'm like, damn, $10.
Yeah, Tekken 6.
Like, god damn, like, where the $10 heist price come from? Like, this is too much money. And then yeah, but then I don't know. I guess it really depends too, because if you told me I was gonna spend like, I don't know, a couple $100 on Genshin Impact for a game, I'd be like, no, what the fuck? That's stupid. Like, why would you spend $300 on a fucking game? Like, that sounds stupid. But then like, I play
experience.
The game, and then I'm dropping money into it, and it is different. It's like that. That's the thing about like microtransactions. Like, that's how it. If it's a little bit at a time, it's not that big of a deal.
Oh,
but then when you look at it as a whole, it's like, oh.
You look
That's
back
not gonna stop me. It's not gonna stop me though.
You're like 50 or 60 years old. I remember it used to be 60,
70. This don't, yeah.
And then you got VR with a platform and this, and it's like $1,500. It's like for the latest console.
Right. But I mean, games nowadays they have so much more content. I mean, depending on the game, right? And there's so much more that goes into it. I don't want to pay 60 even. Are games 70 now? No, not 70
now. The new
next
gen
console, summer 60.
Yeah, man. Well, I will talk about the time. I don't know.
I
haven't bought a game for 70 yet, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the developers too, because Cyberpunk is charging $60 for their game, and it's a free upgrade to next gen. Oh, nice. Whereas like Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty is $70.
It's Call of Duty. Come on, you know them.
I mean, you mean Activision, and then you got the microtransactions.
Right.
That sort of thing.
It's separate. That's why it's better.
Yeah. So I think it's
$100 for it. Where you can pay for it $70 and then $30 later.
Yeah, and then
or even
$30 more after that.
It's an installment plan, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it could be just a mix of like developers, and then if costs are to where if if it warrants the game being that sort of price, like I think like we can have like another topic sometime to where if how exactly they gauge games by like price, or what's worth it being 60 in terms of like what we can look at for specific categories like depth, story, replayability, that sort of thing. So I think it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's tricky, but I think it just comes down to like usually full price games are at release, and it to determine is like, do I want to play this game now, and does this game are there enough merits for me to spend $60 on it right now, or pay full price for it?
I mean, Tekken, I'll do that shit.
Right, exactly. Because that's a game that
you've already done it.
We play, yeah, it's done already. But like Khoa was saying, like I wouldn't pay $60 for Among Us. Like even though the game may have the quality that a $60 game may have, like in terms of value, like I still wouldn't pay $60 for it because I don't think it merits that. You know, like in terms of pricing, because yeah, that's just it. Just I guess it just depends on what you determine the value of a game to be. You know, like yeah, I'll pay $60 for Ghost of Tsushima. Like the game fucking dope. Like even if it's on sale, I'll still pay $60 for it because like I think in terms of value, like that game dope. Yeah, it's about it comes down to supporting it, you know, and I think that's pretty much the bottom line of it. Like do you how much you want to play it, and how much do you want to support this developer or this game? Like not develop. We'll just talk about game. Like you want to support this game, then yeah,
It
we'll drop
runs full
$60.
circle.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, that's the end of the episode, everybody. Unless you guys have anything else to say.
Wesley?
I want to see those dancers again. Those Spyro. Good. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Let's get it. Oh, okay.
Word. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. I'm your host, Digz.
I'm Khoa.
Spyro.
And we'll catch you later. All right, guys. Take care.
Later, everyone.
Peace.